Hey there, everybody. Elijah here. As usual, this is Rainy Day Movie Reviews, and welcome to our sixth podcast, The Muppets Most Wanted. The plot for this movie is slightly more complicated than the first Muppet movie, but not that much more complicated. So the Muppets are saved. They're able to perform again, but they don't know what to do now. So a man named Dominic Bad Guy suggests that they go on a world tour. We also learn that a puppet named Constantine broke out of a Russian gulag, and he looks exactly like Kermit. That will be important later. As the Muppets begin going on their world tour, they start to go against Kermit and his leadership ideas. All of the Muppets want to do their own things, all in one act, but Kermit doesn't think that combining all these ideas will be very entertaining. To cool off, Kermit decides to go on a walk, where he is slapped in the face by Constantine. When Kermit is slapped, Constantine puts a mole on Kermit's face, the same kind of mole that Constantine had on his face. Kermit is then arrested for looking like Constantine, remind you, who is a criminal, and he is sent to the gulag. Now, Kermit is in the gulag, and Constantine, the criminal, is free. We later learn that Constantine and Dominic Bad Guy are working together to steal the crown jewels in England. Dominic Bad Guy sends the Muppet World Tour to a bunch of different places, because that's where Dominic and Constantine need to go to get everything they need to steal the jewels. Constantine continues to act as Kermit, and no one even notices. Eventually, they get to their final stop, the place where the crown jewels are, and everything begins to come together. Constantine, still acting as Kermit, proposes to Miss Piggy, and she says yes. So they are set to get married the night that Dominic is going to grab the jewels. Walter, Animal, and Fozzie, all Muppets, realize that the real Kermit was in the gulag the whole time, and they went to save him. Kermit, the real Kermit, gets to the wedding right before it's too late, and Piggy realizes that Constantine wasn't ever Kermit. Constantine and Dominic almost get away with the crown jewels, but the Muppets all work together and save the day. So that's the movie. Pretty simple, pretty understandable. I'd have to say my favorite part about this movie is probably the comedy duos that are written into this show. For example, Dominic Bad Guy and Constantine have a really interesting chemistry that I just found very funny throughout the whole movie. Now, as for my least favorite parts about this movie, I don't really know where to begin. This movie in a whole I wasn't a huge fan of. I watched it later in the day, and I found myself dozing off quite a few times. And, yeah, the plot was rather predictable, the jokes didn't get any better since the first one, and there wasn't even the nostalgia aspect that the first one brought, because I hadn't watched this movie before. So for a first time watching this movie as a teenager, it was not very entertaining, wasn't very good. I would not go back and watch it again. On that note, I guess it's time we rate the movie. I'm gonna have to rate this movie a 1.5 out of 5 muffins. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. I guess this is the part where I wrap things up, and thank you all for tuning in and listening. So, yeah, thank you all for listening, and until next time, this has been the Rainy Day Movie Reviews Podcast. Have a nice day.